What's up, guys? I know this is the Ask Wrestling Academy page. I know I've done primarily wrestling videos, but I gotta mix a little bit of mixed martial arts in there. You guys know I love mixed martial arts. I fought mixed martial arts for a long time. And my topic today is this. Because I don't think I can say this on DC's show, because, you know, he loves the UFC, is, does Dana White hate mixed martial arts? Does he? I don't know. And so if you watched his post-fight press conference, he kind of crapped on the Shevchenko-Grasso fight and then the Merab O'Malley fight because there was quite a bit of wrestling, grappling. He said they weren't as exciting as the other fights. Obviously, the first two fights on the card were amazing. But at the same time, it's like, okay, if you want this to be a sport, a real sport, this is not WWE, right? And that was why WWE became WWE, because you could script the outcomes. You could make exactly what you want to happen. And now Vince McMahon was famously quoted as saying that if you can't determine the outcome, you'll never make it a billion-dollar company. Now, they've obviously done that with mixed martial arts. And, you know, I don't know about you, but I found Merab versus Sean to be a very fun fight. I mean, they were probably half on the ground, grappling, half on their feet, something to that effect. I thought it was a fun fight. I thought it was a battle of wills and a battle of tactics. And I don't think every fight has to appeal to the lowest level fan. In baseball, in basketball, in football, and all these other sports, there are some teams that might employ a defensive strategy in order to win the game. And if you actually understand the sport, you can appreciate that. Now, in this case, taking someone down and punching him in the face, I don't know that I would define that as a defensive strategy. It is maybe slightly more conservative. But if we're going to do just standing, then the best striker is probably going to win every time, which this is mixed martial arts. You are allowed to do a myriad of things. And you know, when I think about it, it's like, okay, boxing was around for a long time. Boxing was/is relatively popular. But the other striking arts, whether it's kickboxing, Muay Thai, karate of some sort, they've never really gained popularity. And listen, I don't really know why that is. I don't know exactly why. You know, I think in boxing's case, if I were to try to create a reason, it's like, well, boxing is, you know, a little more simple to understand. You can only punch them with your hand. You can't use the back of your hand. You can't spin. There's a whole bunch of things you can't do. So maybe it's really simplistic and people like that. But to me, you know, one of the things I think is the actual appeal of mixed martial arts. And this is where Dana maybe doesn't give this enough credence, because he does love the flashy knockouts. And listen, who doesn't love them? I suppose I don't love them, because what would happen to me? I think it's the unpredictability of mixed martial arts that draws people in, because mixed martial arts is undoubtedly more popular than kickboxing, Muay Thai, or any other striking art. And you could even, to this point, argue boxing, even though boxing had like 100-year head start. I mean, boxing was around, we'll say probably more than 100 years prior to mixed martial arts. But it's the unpredictability. It's the amount of things I can do. I can grab you. I can elbow you. I can take you down. You know, if you're on the ground, I can try to submit you. I can try to get up. You know, and so like in the O'Malley-Merab fight, it was like, okay, Sean got taken down, but can Sean get back up effectively? Can Merab put him in a position where he can submit him? And, you know, I know in the Shevchenko-Grasso fight, you know, when there was a near submission, that was that got a big pop. People understood, hey, this fight could potentially be over. If you think about the initial fight, I'm forgetting those people's names, but the first fight of the night, it was Ode Osborne and blanking the other guy. Anyways, Ode knocked him down and then transitioned into a tight triangle choke in which the other guy was able to get out. And when he got out, everyone went freaking nuts because they appreciated the difficulty of escaping the submission. And so, you know, while I understand what Dana is getting at, is he doesn't want boring fights. And listen, I've been a part of some boring fights, and sometimes, you know, and I will explain from my perspective, is if I'm taking you down and I want to beat you up, sometimes you're good at not getting hit. So in my perspective, and I got way better as my career went on, but especially like, in those middle years, ideally I would take you down and I would elbow you like 20 times and the ref would say that's done. That's great for me. But sometimes the bottom person is really good at not getting hit. They're really difficult to hurt. And so it does make it more of a challenge, and that's where it can become like a chess match and get boring and that type of thing. But I would absolutely argue to Dana that, Dana, you are completely discounting that one of the reasons I think mixed martial arts is really popular is that it is completely unpredictable. There are so many things that can happen, and I think at this point in 2024, enough people like mixed martial arts where they can appreciate the use of different strategies. And I would argue that Merab and Sean was a fun fight. It was something that a lot of people appreciated. And you know, I guess if I had to take it even kind of a couple steps further, is we are seeing less wrestling in mixed martial arts. And why are we seeing that? I think obviously Dana encouraging it probably doesn't hurt the cause. But the other thing would be, I think people realize if you can't stop a takedown, it's going to be really, really hard to win fights. And so there have been a whole bunch of people who've put a lot of effort into stopping takedowns. You think, and you know, even Sean versus Aljo, Sean was relatively good at stopping some takedowns there. You think of Marty Usman versus Leon. Leon was really good at stopping a bunch of takedowns. And so there have been people who've invested a whole bunch of time into stopping wrestling because they realize that is, in fact, a part of mixed martial arts. And then they're able to keep the fight on the feet if they're the superior striker, which if you're the superior striker, that's obviously what your goal should be, is to keep the fight on your feet. So, Dana, you have helped bring mixed martial arts to the point that it is at today, right? You've helped make the UFC and mixed martial arts one of the fastest growing sports in the world. But part of me says you hate mixed martial arts and you just want it to be kickboxing. And if that's the case, you got enough money, maybe you should just go buy a kickboxing organization and see if it can become more popular. And my guess is it won't, because it is the unpredictability of mixed martial arts, the amount of different things that can happen that people love. So let's just simply appreciate that fact. Let's say Sean and Merab, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I think a lot of people enjoyed it. I think it was a fun tactical fight. You know, I think maybe Sean could have employed a few more tactics to make it a little more exciting, maybe took a little more risk on his side. And but mixed martial arts is what it is. It's fun. Those fights weren't all that boring. UFC 306 was a blast. And Dana, I hope you really appreciate what you got in mixed martial arts.